Jai Sohan to all dear students. After learning about the basic introduction of our sixth chapter, that is the life processes, today we are going to learn about the first process, that is the nutrition. So before starting, we must have to learn about the basic definition of the nutrition. Okay, so you all know about what is the nutrition. So this is the process of transfer of a source of energy from outside the body of the organism to the inside. Okay, so this process we call it as a nutrition. I repeat one more time, that is the source of energy from outside of the body of the organism to inside. Clear? That is called as a nutrition. So let's start with nutrition. So when we walk or ride a bicycle, when we walk or ride a bicycle or doing any kinds of the physical work like exercise and all, so we are using up the energy, and even we are not doing any apparent activities. Suppose we are sleeping. Okay, so at that time our body need energy. So why it needed? Because energy is needed to maintain a state of order in our body. Okay, so that's why to maintain the all process that occurs inside our body, so energy is must. So we also need the materials from outside for growing, for develop, for the protein synthesis, okay, and the other substances also needed in our body. So we can conclude that this source of energy and the materials is the food that we eat in our diet. So we must have to eat the healthy food, because if we eat the healthy food, so from that we get the proper amount of the energy. Clear? So we have to learn about now how do living things get their food. So let's start with the answer of this question. Okay, so in that the general requirement for energy and material is common. Okay, so the requirement of energy and the material is common in all organisms, but on the basis of the method of nutrition, the organisms are of two types, like autotrophs and the heterotrophs. Okay, like autotrophs and the heterotrophs. So let's see one by one. So first is the autotroph. Okay, so these organisms use the simple food. Autotroph needs the simple food material obtained from the inorganic source, that obtained from the inorganic source, and that inorganic sources are like CO2 and water. Okay, so the autotrophs use the simple food materials obtained from the inorganic source in the form of carbon dioxide and water. And the examples of the autotrophs are like green plants and some bacteria. Okay, so this is all about the autotroph. Now what is this? Heterotrophs. Okay, so these organisms utilize the complex substance. These organisms utilize the complex substance, and then after that complex substance, that broken down into the simple one. Okay, it broken down into the simple one. Suppose human beings, they take their food, okay, in a daily diet, and that food, first of all, it is in the complex form. Then after, it enters into the digestive system, okay, and it broken down and convert into the simple form. So to achieve this, organisms use the one important thing, that is the biocatalyst, and we call it as enzymes. Okay, and this enzyme that complete all the reactions, okay, during the digestion process. Okay, and this we'll learn in detail in the human digestive system. Okay, now, so the heterotrophs survival depends directly or indirectly on the autotrophs. Okay, so heterotrophs cannot make their own food. They depends on the autotrophs. Suppose we are human beings, so we must have to depends on the autotrophs. Clear? And the heterotrophic organisms include the animals and the fungi. Okay, so we all are heterotrophs. Clear? Now, let's start with the autotrophic nutrition. So, autotrophic nutrition is shown by all the photosynthetic organisms. Okay, all the photosynthetic organisms. That means the organisms that make their own food with the help of the light. And that's why we call it as a photosynthetic organisms. Clear? And the photosynthesis process, that is what you all know about it. Okay, the process in which the carbon dioxide, that is the CO2 plus water, the CO2 and water are converted into the carbohydrates, that is the energy. Okay, we call it as a glucose also. So it converts into the carbohydrate in the presence of sunlight and the green pigment that is called as a chlorophyll. Clear? So the CO2 plus water, okay, that convert into the carbohydrate in the presence of sunlight and the green pigment. Okay, and this process we call it as a photosynthesis. Done? So all the green plant shows autotrophic nutrition. Can we conclude or not? Okay, so conclusion is all the green plant shows their autotrophic nutrition, and by which they produce starch. They produce starch and some proteins. Okay, they produce starch and proteins. So carbohydrates are utilized for providing energy to the plants. Okay, the carbohydrates are utilizing for what? Energy. Okay, they gives the energy to the plant. Yes, it gives the energy to the plant. And if the excess carbohydrate, if the extra carbohydrate are stored, if the extra carbohydrates are stored in the form of starch, okay, extra carbohydrate are stored in the form of starch, okay, and which is complex carbohydrate, what we call it as a complex, okay, that is the complex carbohydrate, and it serves as the internal reserve energy to used as when the plant require. Okay, so when the plant require the energy, so at that time that store energy that used by plant. Clear? So the excess or extra energy that stored in the form of starch in plants. Same way in the human beings. Okay, so in the human beings, the energy that's stored in our body in the form of the glycogen. Clear? So if in the human beings there is extra energy and that's stored in the form of the glycogen. So in the plant that energy is stored in the form of starch And in the human beings, that extra energy that's stored in the form of glycogen. Clear? And this thing we have to learn, okay, further. So now we have to repeat the reaction of the photosynthesis, that is the carbon dioxide, that is CO2 plus water in the presence of the green pigment, that is the chlorophyll, and the sunlight. It gives the energy, okay, it gives the energy that is in the form of glucose, and also release the oxygen gas. And students, you must have to learn this equation, okay, because you already learn it. So this is the carbon dioxide, water, the presence of light, and the green pigment, that is the chlorophyll. It gives the glucose and also release the oxygen gas. Okay, so this is very easy for all of you. So now from the above equation, there are three events occurs during this process, and you already learned that. The first is absorption of light energy by chlorophyll. Okay. The second is the conversion of light energy to the chemical energy, and the splitting of water molecules into the hydrogen or oxygen. Okay, because at the end the oxygen gas is released. That's why. And the third one is the reduction of carbon dioxide to the carbohydrate. Clear? So the CO2, that is carbon dioxide, that convert into the carbohydrate. That means it gives the energy. Clear? Absorption of light energy by chlorophyll first is. Second one is conversion of light energy to the chemical energy, and the splitting of water molecules into the hydrogen and oxygen. And the third one is the reduction of carbon dioxide to carbohydrates. Clear? So till this we have to study in this chapter. Now in the next chapter we are going to learn the components that are necessary for the process of the photosynthesis. So students, till that I am attaching here the assignment, okay, and that assignment you have to write as a homework, and the all question answers that I am attaching over here, you must have to write down and send that homework as per the given time. Or if you can write down, okay, that you can submit it, but don't send it late. Okay, you must have to submit that on time, and also learn all the question answers. Clear? And if you have any doubt, so you can ask me. So students, enjoy your day, keep learning, and Jai Swaminarayan.